Hello and welcome. So we have the change list of all the changes coming to console right now. Let's get through them, shall we? Because there's a lot. So if you go to the official feedback thread, so it is 26.04 you should have. So check on this. You have got 26.04. Here is the substantial changes. Okay. First thing is substantial crash and stability fixes. Okay. Numerous string translation fixes. Numerous text overlap and misalignment fixes. Numerous tile and card polish. The fixes which I've experienced are to the radio wheel across tactics. Fixes an issue where accessing drop-downs can cause a soft lock. I've had that as well. Fixes an issue with the privacy policy. Could be bypassed using a controller. Okay, I suppose that's a legal one. Removed 3D match preferences for devices that are restricted to 2D matches only. I'm assuming that's a touch one for iPhone. Further fixes to matches, but then why would that be restricted to 2D match only if it's... That seems an odd one. Further fixes to matches freezing at the start of the second half. I've experienced that. Changes to default colouring of attributes to make them more distinguishable. There have been complaints about colours of attributes. I'm wondering whether or not they'd ever let us modify our attribute colours. Interesting. New gen portraits will now appear during match broadcast graphics. Don't think I've noticed that so far. Fixed issue preventing subs processing that were made at half-time via the tactics feed. I've had that issue, yeah. Fixed issue where the white match ball would be used in... I've seen that, yeah. Set piece attributes are now visible when setting set piece penalty takers. I've seen that. I've also seen that being an issue in other areas of set pieces, but interesting, okay. Fixed issue causing World Golden Ball award to be skewed towards South American players. That was definitely more PC I've heard of, but not much of console, but then people haven't been able to play console. Text scaling preference option will now be saved after exiting the game. Yes, that fixes the fix I put out last week. Fixed an issue preventing user from closing fixtures and results pop up post-match. Fixed issue preventing... Sometimes I've had that, but then it's sort of fixed, but I just thought that was just lag. Fixed an issue causing player database to return incorrect results if the user switched between interest levels. I haven't experienced that. Career stats will no longer display goalkeeper columns for outfield players. I haven't had that. Mental attributes will now display correctly when set within the staff database tool. I'm wondering if that means they've fixed it where you don't see the numbers anymore. But it's mental attributes, so maybe not. Fixed an issue where there was no way to tell which clubs were promoted or relegated via the season preview. That's a big one. Club badges are now shown on the Media Dream 11. Yeah, okay, that's quality of life. The back navigational direction arrow shortcut now functional across cards and tools. I mean, it was a bit jumpy, but I don't know if that's just me or if that's just general. They've updated because obviously they know stuff like this has been working in the PC build. Overall start until dates with club finances, debts and loans were no longer displayed as the 1st of January 1900. Pretty big one. Fixed issue where the squad numbers will be missing if making a single substitution. Can't say I've noticed that. Injury icon now better displayed on contrasting red kits. That's a pretty big one. User can now select none as an option for individual training. Okay. User can now remove previously set individual focus. Okay. Career managerial vacancies will now display both men's and women's teams. If you got them loaded, I suppose. Fixed an issue where a player would reject own asking price that they are set themselves. Okay. Fixed an issue preventing user from continuing if low knee was injured on international duty. Okay. Manager creation accessories will now correctly reflect colour changes. I've seen that's something that was on the build on PC as well, so that must have been across. Fixed the manager creation where wrinkle slider was not correctly applying. Okay. Manager attire choices will now save correctly. A lot of things on manager creation. Fixed user being able to sell installments within clauses tool. Okay. Club header and welcome pack will now display the correct information. Can't say I've noticed. User can now only mortgage transfer installments from the point they took over, not from real world transfers that occur pre-game. That'll be interesting whether or not that's actually in console or if it's in just touch. because that was something I've been asked about, and that's in PC, and I haven't looked at that yet. Exit talks button now functions correctly with the contract negotiations. Okay. Reworked match momentum graph to better show teams with darker colouring. Okay. Opposition team will now be highlighted in Europa League pre-match league tables. Okay. Winners will now display within competitions card. A user is now always taken back to portal after incident resulting for a friendly match. Red card icon will now correctly display for each respective team within the score bar of the men's Champions League matches. I haven't played Champions League yet. Fixed spacing of aggregate score within the score bar of men's Champions League matches. Okay. Fixture title and portal will now correctly update post-match. The scouting finish message headline will now display the name of the player. The intermediary suggestion headline will now display the name of the player. Fix the issue causing the attribute graphs within the progress report not to show the graph lines. Fixed inconsistency of teams being selected by default via quick start. Unmanageable divisions will no longer display within the advanced game setup, and improved in-game tooltips resolving issues with text wrapping and display logic. Okay, so that's the entire change list. Now, let's give it a nice thumbs up. That's a lot of changes. There was a large emphasis on improving game performance as well as addressing some of the most prominently community-raised issues. I hadn't seen many of these things that were picked up, but obviously they were, a non-exhaustive list. Yeah, so that's everything that's come to the changes. Now, if you missed the video earlier on, they are going to try and do this a bit earlier. So let me just show you the earlier announcement I did cover in case you missed it. Where they said, since the launch of Advanced Beta and full release, we're closely monitoring reports, record 2.5 million players, understand the current situation in the game is reflecting our usual polish level, despite the number of significant issues addressed, including stability, fixing errors, and important polish, but they're outlining their immediate plans to address ongoing concerns. They already identified 500,000 people had access to beta, so they had to do those immediate fixes first, which meant that when it came to day one, they didn't have as many fixes, so that's why you didn't have those coming through. The crash rate has been significantly brought under control, they've said. And even though the vast majority of players haven't experienced crashes at all, we want to emphasise that any game-related crashes are unacceptable. For now, those who have been affected by stability, our next update tackles many more issues. Our crash-free percentage will now improve further. On console, the next update aims to resolve the lag reported during matches and implement a range of crash fixes to address concerns highlighted. Despite this, we know we've still got more work to do. We want to share our plans. So, as it's the start of a new era, they mention, it's natural to draw comparison with previous titles. The initial groundwork laid thus far is fundamental to enabling the series to expand and flourish beyond this cycle, meaning FM26. At the heart of the vision of the future is the UI. So the UI is not going anywhere, but it's also the most prominently discussed topic. We are actively listening to all feedback and recognise there are many adjustments that need to be made. For example, the majority updates, in addition to general polish, you can expect to focus on areas that feel hidden or require too many clicks to access, which will ensure the UI performs more smoothly and continues to evolve towards its full potential. Two key areas are going to be focusing on are stability and performance and quality of life and polish. Stability and performance will remain at the forefront of the priorities, especially as our player base continues to expand. We will keep monitoring and refining this to deliver the most seamless experience possible. As outlined above, our forthcoming update will address many of the stability concerns I've highlighted across platforms. Polish and quality of life improvements remain an ongoing focus, and then it goes into enhancements of both UI optimization and frequently reported actionable issues, such as legacy spacebar on PC. Allowing players to save multiple starting events, and more of which they're working to prioritise and deliver. Still nothing about saving tactics, bear in mind. Enhancing the immersion, it remains at the goal. We remain fully committed to refining and improving FM26 through this cycle. For example, they're also looking at making pass maps a thing again, which makes a lot of sense because I think that was quite good, especially with in and out of possession. FM26 Console and Touch will be available to download on relevant platforms. These updates focus on game stability and general bug fixes, along with reducing lag during matches and full changes will be provided following the release, as we've already discussed. So this will introduce, we're also making progress on a public beta which will introduce a legacy preference to advance through the messages with spacebar, along with 200 other fixes. We'll update that via FM Assist when this is complete. By the way, whilst weekly is their target, this is subject to clearing QA, which is quality assurance, and passing submission. Cadence will vary and differ by platform, meaning it's more likely you'll see more updates on PC than you will on console and touch, but that's because of platform, but they are doing their best to mitigate against this. So in general, that's really positive. Lots of changes, lots of good things to take on board there. Let me know what you think. We are now going to try and investigate in overnight, and I've got lots of people coming to me to tell me whether or not it's working or not. So please, down below, if you've already got those updates, please let me know how it's going. Please feedback, and also don't forget to report via the forums if there are any issues. If you like this, obviously subscribe if you aren't already, and share it with your friends. Hopefully, we're going on to the path of glory now. Hopefully, the game's getting fixed, and hopefully, all you Xbox Series X users are actually able to play the game for the first time since spending 50 bloody quid on it last week. Anyway, thank you once again. Until next time, check out one of these other videos. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.